Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review. This is another paid request, this time for Peter. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, topics, reactions, reviews, re-reviews, randomness, out of the blueness, whatever it may be, feel free to send them either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now, this is for the 1995 film Breach of Trust, also known as Crash. Not the Crash that won an Oscar, not the Crash with David Cronenberg where they have sex because they crash into cars. I know. There's that one. There's the one that won the Oscar that no one liked that won the Oscar. That Crash with Matt Dillon. This is another one. But the title I'm going to use is Breach of Trust. I'd never even heard of this film, but it stars Michael Biehn. I like Michael Biehn. I mean, he's in one of my favorite films, Aliens, right there. The Abyss, The Terminator. I even liked him in this one. Oh, what was it? I gotta think about it for a bit. Maybe it was American Dragons. There's one movie I'm like, it's okay. Like, this is one of those films that Michael Biehn I think is a good actor. And that's a guy that I think should have gone to bigger roles. I mean, there were films people recognize, like he's had a small role in The Rock. He was in Navy SEALs. But when he got into this time period, he was doing films like Time Bomb, which was nothing to run home about. He did another one called Deep Red. Nothing to do with the Dario Argento Deep Red. This was another film called Deep Red. That was nothing to run home about. And this is kind of the same. In fact, I'd probably put Time Bomb above this, honestly. This is one of those average or below average type of movies. It is either average or below average. I don't know. It's not horrible. It's not terrible. It's not rant-worthy. At least so far. Because sometimes I say that and then I say it out loud and go, well, maybe it is a rant. But Michael Biehn, he plays a guy who's a courier, meaning he'll get the job to take something from point A to point B for criminals. And he talks with this guy played by Tim Coates. Tim Coates has been in a lot of stuff. Remember The Last Boy Scout with Bruce Willis? The guy who pissed off Bruce Willis, and Bruce Willis did that and broke it so that the nose went into the guy's brain. That's Tim Coates. But he's been in a lot of other stuff too. He's in the film. He owes Michael Biehn money, but Tim Coates won't pay it yet. Meanwhile, he's doing this deal with this other guy, this criminal guy, played by Miguel Sandoval. He's been in a couple films too. He's one of the special agents who's sympathetic to Arnold in Collateral Damage. You should not take the law into your own hands. He's been in a lot of other stuff too. That guy, Miguel's, I forget the character's name. Miguel and Tim Coates, they're working out a deal. And Tim Coates has this computer disc, CD-ROM computer disc, that's going to have a $40 million transfer involved. And Miguel needs it because he had deals with these other more dangerous guys. But Tim Coates is like, well, if you want the actual codes, you got to give me some more money. That pisses off Miguel, so he sends some people to get it. Meanwhile, Tim Coates picks up this woman who you think is a hooker, but you find out this lady is an undercover cop. And then meanwhile, Michael Biehn's in Tim Coates' room because he wants his money that Tim Coates owes him, so he finds a computer disk, it takes it, and then everyone comes into it. There's the lady who you find out is an undercover cop, you have Michael Biehn, you have Tim Coates, and then Miguel sent this other guy, Vlad Kulik. He was a bad guy in The Equalizer. He was the guy, if you remember that movie, The 13th Warrior, with Antonio Banderas. Antonio Banderas kind of worked with this group, and the leader of the group, that's Vlad Kulik. He's trying to get the disc, and all chaos happens. You get a little bit of slow-mo, little firefight, while the money is raining. Michael Biehn and the undercover cop, they get out. And the rest of the film is pretty much Michael Biehn and his undercover cop working together. They go from point A to point B to point Z. The lady cop, I forget her name, I apologize. She finds out there's some dirty agents on the tape. That's why the bad guys keep finding where they're at. And you get a couple meh action scenes, like passable at best. Nothing in the realm of like PM Entertainment or those movies back to the day. Not even slightest. Michael Biehn does shoot, but the cop does most of the work. Like there's a bit that she escapes and slides down a building. And Michael Biehn, I mean, they're trying to put his character a little bit of sense of humor infused into it. Where a situation happens and I never thought I'd hear Michael Biehn go, that was radical. Or something happens and, ow, that hurt. But sadly, it doesn't really amount much to anything. It just... It's 90-some minutes long. It never really kicks into high gear. It's not that it's boring. Because after that, they're kind of on the move, but I never really found any chemistry between Michael Biehn and the lady cop. In fact, they have a sex scene that I felt came out of nowhere. One of the few more decent action bits is a bit at a parking garage where they're being... But I mean, I saw that done better in films like The Taking of Beverly Hills with Ken Wall. Actually seen in a parking garage. It was nothing to run... I mean, it's... I just see why I'd never heard of this film before. It's a fairly forgettable, middling, like below average to middle of the road type of movie. There's nothing that memorable about it. Other recognizable people, Matt Craven, who I recognize, he was in the 1990 film Jacob's Ladder. He was the guy who tells Tim Robbins that he made the drug, the ladder, that was in Vietnam, and explaining to Jacob Singer, Tim Robbins' character, about that whole ordeal. That's Matt Craven. He's been in other stuff too. He plays a crooked agent that's playing both sides. Ed Lauter, he was a cop in Death Wish 3 who helps Charles Bronson at the end. For those who remember Death Wish 3, which is a classic, the two of them, there's the bit where Charles Bronson and the police officer, they're going down the road, they're both fighting bad guys, and they're both there while the main bad guy is in the same room, and then Charles Bronson gets the rocket launcher, the bazooka, boom! I'm like, did I watch that film instead of this? For some reason, they gave him a really thick, like, German accent. Where are the documents, defunct? I can't do German. I don't know what you're doing here. Where is my money? We want the documents. It just didn't fit with Ed Lauter's character. He didn't need an accent. You didn't have to write that into the script. It just sounded awkward. And you could tell this is the time where computers were becoming much more of a prevalent thing in terms of movies. Yes, movies before had dealt with computers. I mean, Jumpin' Jack Flash, Whoopi Goldberg. The big plot centered on Whoopi Goldberg talking to someone via computer. War games. But this is that era where you had a lot of Technobabble, tech talk about hacking, or you gotta do this with the fluctuator and the capacitor with the fluctuator, and then the 6 numbers will get into the snuff applier and the navigator and the cactometer with the universal pin that you plug it in. You get into the dichometer, which you gotta measure with a continuator. a lot of tech talk in this day. Because think about it, this time, you had films which I liked, like Virtuosity, but you also had films like Johnny Mnemonic, and you had all this stuff come out. The Net, which I enjoy with Sandra Bullock. Now maybe this doesn't use as much as those movies, but we got to the third act where our two characters had to go into the sewer system and tap into these telephone lines and try to mess with the bad guy's computer and try to get the transfer of these funds. And then you have a little bit of a shootout. Then the girl gets taken. Then Michael Biehn works with these other guys, sets up a meeting, and then they're kind of in the middle while FBI and bad guys, they're shooting each other, blah 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 blah. And if you want a movie where Michael Biehn kicks ass, you're not getting that in the slightest. I would say that again, the undercover cop, the lady, does more of that than Michael Biehn. The action scenes, if you watch enough action films like this, the action scenes are going to be like barely passable at best. I mean, I don't know, I just didn't find a lot of style. I didn't find a lot of pedigree or adrenaline in the direction of the film. Michael Biehn, it's like, I like some of the cast members. That's not enough to save this film. I guess the reason I don't tell it a rant is because I'm not angry about it. It's just, it's always nice to see Michael Biehn. I like him as an actor. There's a few moments that's trying to get, again, that sense of humor, try to spice the proceedings up a bit, but again, I didn't think he had chemistry with the girl. I thought he didn't really have much to do. Like, there were times he shoot with a gun, but it's either going back to Miguel, dealing with Ed Lauter's character, who's a higher-up, who wants his money from Miguel, or you're dealing with Matt Craven, fucking over both sides, or you're dealing with this other agent that fucks over our undercover cop lady, and then he gets blown up in a car bomb. The music is nothing to mention. I can't remember the music. I don't say run home about, but I don't even remember the music. There's not like there's any songs on the soundtrack to spice up scenes. I didn't. Like, you look at the Take Care of Beverly Hills with Ken Wall. You look at that action scene in the parking garage where our good guys are being attacked by someone who's having a fucking flamethrower while da 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 na na da 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 da. I think that was like Janet Jackson. Stretch da 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 na na. Like, I still remember that vividly. This, I'll forget in a day or two. I think a lot of people would as well. It gets like I think like a 5.2. I wouldn't even give it that high. I think that's too high for a film that just, I did. Even as a Michael Biehn fan, sure, you'll watch it once because, well, this was a paid request, that's why, but if you're a Michael Biehn fan, you don't want to watch a movie of his more than, at least once, sure, but I can't think you will remember this film much afterward. Dialogue-wise, action-wise. Again, the only semblance of action, like at the first bit where, like, they're shooting and the money is floating. Because someone threw money in the air and it's going slow-mo while the money's drifting down. I'm like, okay, it's a little, that's like one of those few bits of style. Let's see, the garage, parking garage, it's obviously below average. Average, yeah, there's not much to talk about. It's very, very lame. I mean, super spoilers. I do that in case people don't want to watch it. Say they tap into telephone lines, more tech talk, shootout. Michael Biehn escapes, but the girl's caught. Michael Biehn gets with these agents who are dirty. Well, maybe they're dirty, I don't know. Maybe it's like they know what's going on and put a wire on him. He meets with the girl. Bad guys try and get the money transfer so that they don't get killed by the other bad guys. agents come in. They duck down while they're shooting each other. Ed Lauter comes in, who's a hired criminal, kills Miguel's character, and then leaves. Vlad beats up Michael Biehn a bit, ready to shoot Michael Biehn, and then the girl shoots Vlad. And it's not even any like big blood squibs, it's not even like crazy stunts. Other than that one bit I mentioned where the undercover lady kind of shimmies off a building kind of early on in the film. Again, I can see why I never heard of this film before. I don't even think this film has a DVD. If that's the case, I can understand. If so, that would be bullshit, because you tell me Street Night, A Deadly Outbreak, and Murder by Phone, Richard Chamberlain, they don't have DVDs, but this film does? I think that would be horseshit. So yeah, I'm not really a fan of the film. I was thinking average, but I would say it's below average. It's a below average movie that its only saving grace is, number one, the recognizable people like Tim Coates and Michael Biehn and such. Having Michael Biehn in there, one of those actors I'm a sucker for. But again, good luck trying to remember this film and try to talk to someone about it a day after. So, with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.